Buddy, there is no congressional blistering like Senator John Kennedy blistering. So you better watch what you post on the internet, Mary.
This Supreme Court, referring to the current United States Supreme Court, has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well, close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
You tweet, don't you?
Yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you? You try to be provocative on there, don't you? Here's one of your tweets. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this.
Did you say it?
I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said
relevance
it.
of that
Here
to
it
this
is, big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Welcome back to the Disturbing Illusion channel. Let's take a brief look at the Dow. It was down 715 points today, less than 2%, a little more than 1.5%. So over the past year, it's up 4.5%. And year to date, it's down only 2.26%. You know, people are freaking out, but this isn't even, we're not even in correction territory, guys. We're not in correction territory until we reach about 38,000 or 36,000 on the Dow. Now, I have something interesting to show you. Senator John Kennedy is grilling this woman right here. Her name is Dr. Mary Ann Franks. If you don't know who Mary Ann Franks is, her claim to fame is back in 2014, she was named by the Daily Dot as one of the heroes in the fight to save the internet. She has a book out entitled The Cult of the Constitution, Our Deadly Devotion to Guns and Free Speech. She's an anti-gunner, and she's not exactly a fan of free speech. So that's the kind of person we're dealing with. Does that mean she hasn't done good things in the world? Heck, I don't even know, man. I don't know. Some of the tweets that Senator John Kennedy goes over right here are pretty interesting, and I think it's worth watching because we have enemies. The enemies are Congress, the political parasites, the parasitic political class, the law enforcement class, the banking class. Until we get on board with it's never right to initiate unjust force and violence on peaceful people who haven't done anything wrong, and that their lives and their properties aren't more important than us and our properties, then we really can't see eye to eye. And I can't see the Washington's District of Criminals coming to that conclusion anytime soon. In the meantime, they do want to give us bread and circuses, so obviously they want us to be entertained for some reason, but I think we can extract through some of this entertainment some valuable information that we can walk away with, plant in our knowledge base, and kind of walk in wisdom on. So let me show you this interaction between Senator John Kennedy and Dr. Mary Ann Franks. Check this out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I apologize for having to miss the testimony of some of you, and I appreciate you coming today. Professor Franks, let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley's, so I got part of it. As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship and industrial complex.
I got that part.
No, I just
that
want to
part.
clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, as I appreciate it. Let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote an Orig Vid article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy, end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, when the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats.
Which is really interesting that she would say that, because the original gun control laws were against the black man and pro-white man. So when you have the Bruin case, which centered on the Second Amendment challenge to New York's strict concealed carry laws, which required individuals to show proper cause or a special need to obtain a license to carry a concealed firearm in public, anybody who has a problem with less gun restrictions and claims that those less gun restrictions work for the benefit of the white man, I no comprende that at all. Just as a reminder, the court in a 6-3 ruling struck down this requirement, holding that it violated the Second and 14th Amendments, and the decision established that the right to bear arms extends to carrying firearms in public for self-defense and set a new standard for evaluating gun laws. And she's saying, quote, when the Supreme Court declares that there's a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats. If it is a blanket decision that affects all human beings in a particular geographic location, namely America, how could it be a white man's privilege?
Close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court, referring to the current United States Supreme Court, has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well, close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay.
How does it turn it? See, what am I missing here? How does it turn the Constitution into a homicide pact when the people who are directly affected by said laws or the dropping of certain restrictions includes black men and other minorities, including women?
In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You're trying to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question is.
let me show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m., quote, the majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this
Did you
hearing.
say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance of
Here
that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Biggest
Yes.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me
doctrine.
like you have your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, there's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy, close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did I read that correctly? Do you really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment-
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
I
Thank you.
believe that you should
The
take the
time
First
has expired.
Amendment.
Thank
I don't understand the you're a white supremacist slant when you have Supreme Court rulings like this, unless there's something that I'm missing. So if I'm missing something here, and the Bruin case is an example that demonstrates a white supremacist bias, somebody's going to have to break that out for me and break it down and explain it to me, because I ain't getting it. So this was Kennedy grilling Marianne Franks. Marianne Franks looks like she is, I don't know. I don't know anything about her. I want to save any kind of criticism I have until I read up more on her, but let me know what you guys think. I don't think for a second that Marianne Franks or Senator John Kennedy are on our side. If they were, then they'd be doing something about the Zio International Banking Cartel and the IRS and the income tax and the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex and the war on drugs, which is really a war on people, and the national debt soaring every single administration. So leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below, because I want proper thinking on this. And I know that maybe sometimes I lack nuance and the world isn't exactly black and white in every single issue. There are some grays that we need to, try to consider. But if you think I'm missing something, let me know in the comment section below. And thanks for being a subscriber to this channel. Help this flailing channel grow by subscribing, hitting the bell notification icon, sharing this video and liking this video, and leaving a comment, because engagement really helps with the algorithm. I will see you in the next video.